Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, so in the last class, possibly we had left one of the problem in the middle itself. We did not completely solve that problem. So we'll continue that problem, but before that, few things. So I think I have already shared it in the WhatsApp, right? So those of them who will not be able to go through LMS, just mail it to me at my mail ID. Okay, so this has to be done only if you are not able to upload the answer papers onto the Moodle. Otherwise, just try to avoid mailing me. Why? Because tracking the answer paper would be really difficult for me. Okay, so only if it is not possible through LMS. Okay, only if you are not able to upload the answer to LMS, only then you are supposed to mail it to me. Otherwise, you can just wait and send it through LMS itself. Okay. So these are the different which I wanted to share. And another thing is that in A section, at few of the groups, I had asked them to contact me. So since this sessional is there, you can extend. There is an extension of time. Okay, you can contact me by tomorrow afternoon, and you can take some extension. Alright, so, and then we'll discuss this particular project topic. Okay, so about this project, project cost, which we are discussing in the previous class, because of some of the network issues, we could not continue the class. So just tell me, where did we stop the last class? Or if anyone could not get any of the part, that is any step in the problem, if anyone could not understand any step in the problem, so just you can ask me to recall. I'm ready to explain. Okay, so I will start at some point in the problem, and from there I will continue. In case if you want me to explain the previous step, or if you have not made note of the previous step because of the network issue, you can just ask me to stop and come back to the previous step. Okay, all right. So if anyone could tell me, so at what point in problem we stopped? What was the last step in the problem solution?
So you had given one statement, sir.
So what was that statement? Can you just
Initially, this activity takes 6 days to complete. So one problem was given, sir. On
correct?
that it was.
Initially, 2-3 activity takes 6 days time
6 days to complete.
to complete. Yes. Okay. What next? What is the next statement? I think the next statement was can be completed in 4 days. And is it right? So I think here we stop. This was the last statement. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Everyone has written the same statement.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this was the last statement. So from here on, I will just go ahead. Okay. So we have completed the table, that is incremental cost. Have we calculated the incremental cost for 2-3? Did we complete the incremental cost?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
For all the activities we have calculated, is it right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So after calculating the incremental cost, the next step was to determine the we had to select uh, one of the for reduction in activity duration. So
Yes, sir. We had selected 1.2-3.
good as the
That
activities
is
because the incremental cost is it
least
right?
recommended
Uh,
increment.
Least incremental cost. So because the incremental cost is very much less, that is the reason 2-3 activity selected. Yes, that's right. So after that, did we also calculate the critical path? Did we determine the critical path?
No, sir.
No.
Critical and the path duration did we determine? That was 21 days by any means. Have we calculated the path duration as
No,
21?
sir.
No, sir.
21 days, yes, sir.
It is already calculated, is it right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, initially we have calculated. And is it the same case with everyone? I want some more answers regarding
Yes, sir.
this.
Yes, Yes, sir. okay.
We have calculated. Yes, we have calculated the project completion duration. Okay. So from here on,
Even critical path is calculated, sir.
critical path is calculated. Okay. So just as a repetition, I will just write it once again. Critical path is equal to longest path duration. Longest path. Okay. So what is the longest path of the critical path? Can you name it?
1-2-3-4-5
What
is
is
equal to 21 days.
So this is the critical path. And okay. So of are so the list of critical activities. One, I think this is also listed basically. Just to recall, I'm just writing this.
Yes, sir.
So 1-2, 2-3, 3-4, and 4. Correct. So these are the list of critical activities. Now for this list of critical activities, did we formulate the table? The table should consist of critical activities. First column of that particular table is critical activities. Second column of the table should be normal duration.
Yes, sir, it's done.
Yes,
Already
sir.
done.
It's done.
I'll just write it so that it is reference activity. Normal duration. Normal duration, crash duration. So you need not write it once again. This is just for my reference. I'm just writing this. Normal cost. You don't write it once again because this is already written on the notebook. I think one more column more. Was this the sequence in which I'm writing? Is the same column heading followed?
So after normal duration, crash duration was written.
Next is crash duration. Okay, next
Normal cost.
normal cost and
Crash cost.
crash cost and
Increment cost.
all right. What is the normal duration?
8, 6.
Uh,
Normal duration.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Tell me the
4,
normal duration. 8, 6,
4, 3.
3. Okay. Crash duration.
5, 4,
5 and 4. Okay.
2 1. 1,600. 1,800. 2,000. 900. 2,500. 2,000. 3,200. 2,000.
Increment cost.
300. 100. 600. 550.
Perfect. Okay, so out of this, we have to select the least. So the least is this. Just do not make note of this because this is already there in the notes. Okay. Now, how do we select the act? Always remember that the cost element. This is the increment cost. Okay. Now, our intention was, and this is the project completion duration 21. Okay. So the project will take 21 days to complete. Okay. Now, our intention or the project manager's intention is to reduce this number from 21. It has to be lesser than 21. Okay. Now, how do we select or how do we do? It is nothing but increment cost column. Okay. Now, 21 days has to be reduced to some number below 21. Okay. So how do we do that? Nothing but uh, some more number of employees have to be employed or some machines have to be employed, correct, in order to finish the work fast. Okay, simple example, if you have to see the building construction, correct. So if the building has to complete within 5 months instead of 6 months, okay. Initially, the building contractor may have said that it takes 6 months, but the owner may say that the building has to be constructed within 5 months. Then what will happen here? Uh, 5 months means more number of workers are required for purchasing and processing the raw material and for logistics, transportation of the raw materials, machines, so on and so forth. So more number of machines, more number of employees are required. When these are required more in number, what will happen? The cost will go. So the project manager will have to start giving more cost or pay more. Okay. So if that has to happen, okay, now this is the extra cost. 300 rupees is the extra cost paid. The project manager has to pay 300 rupees extra in case one dash to activity reduces from by 1 day. Okay. If this 1 dash to activity has to reduce by 1 day, that is initially it is taking 8 days. If this has to reduce by 1 day, 7 days. Okay. The project manager has to pay 300 rupees. Similarly, 100 rupees the project manager will pay in case this number has to be reduced. If this number has to be reduced from 6 to 5. Okay, the project manager has to pay 100 rupees. Okay, and this is 600 rupees extra, and this will cost 550 rupees extra. Okay. That is the reason. Always remember that. Uh, 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 Always remember that the increment cost is very much less. Okay. So as 2-3 activity. 2-3 activity has increment cost. Okay. 2-3 activity has the least increment cost. Select 2-3 activity for the reduction for the reduction of for the reduction uh, for the reduction of duration. Okay, so initially 2-3 activity 6 days. It can be reduced. It can be completed in 4 days. Therefore, total number of days or the total number of reduction possible. Total number of reduction possible is equal to 2 days time. Okay, is it understood here? So instead of completing this activity in 6 days, we can finish it in 4 days time. Okay. Are you getting this? So that is the reason total reduction possible is 2 days. Was this written in our previous explanation? Did we write this explanation in our previous? Did we write the statement in our previous class?
No, sir, we hadn't completed.
Okay, so just make note of this. From here we will go on. And did we calculate the project cost in our previous class? Project cost was 14,000 something. Did we calculate that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, and another thing is that during the sessional, okay, I will be sharing a Zoom link, and each and every student has to keep this Zoom, or each and every student is supposed to keep the camera on while writing the session. So just to see that there is a transcript. So what is being done is the Zoom link will be circulated the WhatsApp group of this section. Okay, so just open that link and keep the camera on while you're in the session. So from 3 to 3:50, you have to keep it. 3 to 3:55. 3 o'clock to 3:55 that you are keeping the camera on. Okay, so assuming that this is done, I will go ahead to the next. Okay, so now after,
Sir?
yes,
All have to keep their cameras on, or will you be telling someone?
no, everyone is supposed to keep the camera on.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yes, each and every student is supposed to keep it on.
Yes, yes, sir.
After reducing activity, this 3 by 2 days, we get different possible paths and path duration. Okay, so 1 dash 2 dash path 1 dash 2 dash 4 dash 5. Are the paths correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5 and 1, 3, 4. Is the path correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So what will be the first path duration? 1 dash 2 is how much? Eight days. Correct. Next, what about 2
Yes,
dash?
sir.
What about 2 dash 3?
6.
Initially it was taking 6 days. Now it becomes 4. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That
sir.
is yes. That is the only change. Yes, remaining will be the same. Okay. 3 dash 4 is
4.
now what will be the new path duration?
Nineteen.
19, sir.
Right. 19 days. That's right. Next, 1 dash 2 is as you have already told. What about 2 dash 4?
7.
Answer 18. No? Okay. Next, 1 dash 3 is
5.
5 and 3 dash 4.
3. Sorry. 4.
What will be the critical path here?
Nineteen days.
19.
That's right. So 21 is reduced to 19. Correct. So this is some calculation we are supposed to do. So those who have finished writing this can just write the critical path is equal to longest path is equal to 1 dash 2 dash 4 dash 5. Critical path is equal to longest path is equal to 1 dash 2 dash 3 dash 4 dash 5 is equal to 19.
Sir, for the internals, hello. Sir, for the internals, if we know how to solve the table, do we have to explain each step separately?
No, not required. Can you just give me one example? Like it will be very much clear for me.
No, I
Hello.
mean, if you know how to solve the whole table of free float, total float, and
Sufficient.
independent float, do we have to solve each step separately and show?
Not required. The answer has to be there. The answer has to be there and the network has to be drawn properly.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay, so this is done. Once this is over, that is- yes. So the critical path is the critical path is the longest path. So which is the longest path here?
1 dash,
One
2 dash, 3 dash, 4 dash, 5. 19 days.
That is equal to 90. Right. Correct. So once this is done, is it right? So next step is we will be calculating the project cost. So how do we determine the project cost? The direct cost or normal cost. So what is the normal cost? Or we can say that it is the total of the direct cost or the total of the normal
9,200.
9,200. Next, total indirect cost
5,250.
and how is it determined? 250 rupees into how many
Project
days?
completion duration.
How much is
20. It was 21 days.
previously it was 21. Now it will be reduced to
90.
19 days. So what will be that?
4,750.
4,750 rupees, 19 days. How much was that? 4,750. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And next is the total incremental cost. Increment cost of 2-3 act. So what is the total incremental cost of activity 2-3?
100.
100, but we are reducing it for 2 days. 2 days into 100 is equal to 200. Is it right? Everyone has understood how to consider this. Has everyone understood this? 9,200, 4,750, and 200. Correct? Any doubts here?
No doubt, sir.
How about others?
No doubt, sir.
No doubt, sir.
Okay. So what should be the total project cost? So you have to just total it up and determine the total project cost. So what is the total project cost?
So
14,150.
including increment cost we need to add.
Yes. It has to include the incremental cost also. So it will be 9,200 plus 4,750 plus 200, and that should be how much? How much you said?
14,150.
Correct. So this project cost, that is 14,000 is less than the previous project cost, less than the previous project cost. How much was the previous project cost? 14,450.
14,450.
Rupees, correct? Therefore, we continue this problem. Okay, is it right? Since this cost is lesser than the previous, that means what? The project manager could successfully reduce the project completion duration and also successfully reduce the project cost. Okay, that is the reason we are supposed to continue this problem. Is it right? Now, in case, let us assume that this was 14,750. I'm just assuming that this value was 14,750. Should we have to continue this problem? Let us assume that we would have obtained project cost as 14,750.
No, sir.
Correct? We would have stopped this problem and we would have said that 14,450 was the least cost that we could have achieved. Correct? So, but here, since the cost is a little lesser than what we had obtained earlier, so we'll continue this problem. Okay. Has everyone understood this? Okay. So is it done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So next is nothing but we have to continue this problem. We can call this as cycle 2 or the second iteration. We can call it. We can call it as cycle 2. Okay. Now, critical path is equal to the longest path is equal to 1, which is equal to 19 days. Is it right? So I'm going to list the same thing once again. Critical activities. I think I don't have space here. Okay, so for cycle 2, first we have to identify which path we are supposed to select. And once that is done, we have to list the activities. So what is the list of activities? Critical activities. We have critical activities, normal duration, or is it really required to write it once again because all the critical activities are the same, correct? So I don't think we have to write this once again because or else let it be, since this is the first problem, we'll keep it as detailed as possible. Critical activity. Okay, we will write this once again, but this is the same table what we had written it earlier. So next we have the normal duration, normal cost, crash cost. Finally, we have the incremental cost. Is it right? So all these things we had written it earlier. Same thing is getting repeated because the critical activity or the critical path remains the same for the next cycle also. Sometimes there is a possibility that the critical path may get added up. Okay, two paths may be having the same path duration, so two paths may become critical. So that time we may have to write this separately, but here we did not have had written this once again. But since this is the first problem, I feel it is better we write it once again, so that there will be much of the clarity. What was this? Normal cost? 1,800. Huh?
Yes, sir.
This was 2,000. This was 100. Okay. What is this? 3-4 normal
4, 4,
and
2,
2.
2000, 3200, 600,
600, correct. Next. 3,
3,
1.
900, 2000, 550.
500, correct. So now we have to observe one thing here. Okay. This is, which is the least incremental cost?
2-3.
2-3, but this is already considered
1-2.
yes. So the next least cost is 1-2, that is 300, correct? So we have to select the next least cost, that is 300, correct? So, and next decision would be for how many days we are going to reduce it. This is actually taking 8 days time. We can finish this in 5 days. So by how many days we can reduce this activity?
3.
Any other answers? 3 days. Any other answer? Any other answers?
No, sir, it's 3 now.
Correct.
It's 3 days.
It's 3 days itself. That's right. So, 2-3 activity is already reduced by 2 days. Okay. Therefore, we will not consider this activity once again. Okay. Activity 1 dash has the next least incremental cost. 300 rupees. Normal duration is 8 days. Okay. Crash duration is 5 days. Okay. Therefore, we can reduce this activity by 3 days. Okay, is it right? So initially it was taking 8 days, now it is taking 5. That is the reason we can finish this activity. We can reduce this activity by 3. I'm just going for the next. Okay. So possible paths and their duration. Okay, 1, 2, 1. So what will be the path duration here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 dash 2 is how much?
8,
Initially it was 8, now it is 5.
5,
And 2 dash 3, initially it was 6.
4,
Yes. Now it will be 4. 3 dash 4,
4, 3,
what is the path duration?
12,
Path duration is 12. It should be 16. Correct? All right. So next is 5. What is 2 dash 4? What is this value? 2 dash 4.
seven,
7. Okay. What about 1 dash?
5,
Very good. Okay. So what should be the next step after this?
critical path,
Select longest critical path.
longest path,
Critical path. The longest path or the critical path.
16 days,
1, 2, 3, 5. Once this is identified, what is the next step? is identified. What should be the next step?
So now again we need to calculate project cost.
Yes. Why? Because we have to see whether the cost has reduced or increased. Is it right? So project cost, total normal. What is the total normal cost?
9,200.
Okay. And total indirect cost,
250 into 60.
into, correct? How much is it?
4,000.
4,000 in fact. Is it? Increment cost for 2-3 activity. How much? 2 into 100 rupees. 200 rupees. And increment cost for 1-2 equal to
300.
3 into 300. 3 days into 300. Correct? So add all these things. 9,200 plus 1,000 plus 200 plus 900. That should be the project.
14,300, sir, total.
How much? What is this?
14,300.
14,300. Okay, so is it lesser than the previous or more than the previous project cost?
More
Previous-
than, sir.
It is more than that. Okay, that is the reason we stopped the problem here. Okay, so I will come to that. Just make note of this.
So here we need to take always increment cost of earlier, like 2-3 we have taken no.
Correct.
Instead of that only we can't take the last one, increment cost for 1-2.
Why? Because originally this was 21, is it right? Project completion. What? Is it right?
Yes,
It
sir.
was 21 days. That means we have reduced it by 5 days. Correct? Do you agree with this? We have reduced this number by 5 days. Now we
Yes,
have,
sir.
yes, we have to show where we have reduced this. 2 days is reduced here, 3 days is reduced here. Total 5 days. That calculation has to be shown. 5 days where we have adjusted. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that has to be done compulsory. There is no option. You have to write this previous one, previous incremental cost. Okay. So I hope everyone out of this project cost is how much? If you add everything, 9,200 plus 4,200 plus 900. What is the total? 14,300
14,300.
rupees. Correct? So this project cost and is previous project cost 14,100, is it right?
150, sir.
Is 14,150. Therefore, we stop the problem here. We will consider the previous project cost okay. So therefore, optimum project cost tons. Okay, and one more line is there. So write it. We have reached the final solution. 14,150 is the final required answer. So this is the optimum project cost. Okay. Okay. So optimum project duration. We are not considering this project duration, but we are considering the previous project completion. What was the previous project completion?
14,150.
Duration days
19.
19 days. So we are not
19
considering
days.
correct. We are not considering 16 days, but we are considering 19 days. This is the final answer. Okay, as well as the previous last statement that is the project cost or what we have written in the previous screen. So these two are the answer. One is optimum project duration and the optimum project cost. Okay. All right. So any doubts?
No, sir.
All right. So thank you everyone. And the class here, they send me the list of absentees. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.